Hey guys, Dale Schwartz from Schwartz Performance here for our October 2018 update. We just had our open house on September 29th, and if you were unable to make it, well, here's some footage of what you missed. Each open house gets bigger and better. This year we had over 500 people in attendance and 140 hot rods and muscle cars showed up to fill up our industrial park. During the last several open houses, we raised money to benefit Turning Point of McHenry County, which is a local domestic violence shelter. We did so with a silent auction, which was put together with local businesses and some of our vendors who stepped up and donated their products and services. We also had a 50-50 raffle and a donation basket. With all of these, we were able to raise about $3,200. My dad had a goal of $4,000, so we brought another $800 to the table to total that goal. Our next open house will be in 2020, so stay in touch with us so you don't miss out. For those of you that did make it out to our open house, thank you so much for coming and making the day special. Also thanks to our vendors and local businesses that stepped up and donated a lot of cool products and services. We definitely appreciate your support. We have a lot going on out in the shop, so let's take a look. Our G-Machine chassis for Chevy 2 Novas from 62 to 67 have been really popular this year. Right here behind me I've got two of them that just got completed. This one is powder coated. We're putting a Chevrolet Performance connecting cruise in it, LS3 with an automatic, which is really cool. We're an authorized Chevrolet Performance reseller, so we can put together complete packages. And this other one behind me is just plain steel. It's going to another shop down in Florida to be assembled, and these Chevy 2 chassis are really a must-have for the Chevy 2 crowd. They install without any floor pan cutting, which is really cool. Rather than putting subframe connectors and different front clip and rear clip, this gives you a complete solid foundation for whatever horsepower level you're going with, from anything from 300 horsepower all the way up to 1,000 horsepower. This thing will be able to handle it. We do have several different options on all of our chassis as far as brakes, rear end, shocks. It all depends on what you're doing with your build. We can outfit you with what you need. We're rolling right along in the chassis shop as usual. Next to me here I've got two Mustang chassis. Just like all of our unibody chassis, these bolt in with minimal modification to the car. This one is for a 72 Mustang and this one's for a 70 Mustang. Fun fact, since 1971 to 1973, all of the Mustangs were 1 inch longer wheelbase than the earlier models. Here's the center console that we're fabricating for Max's 70 Buick Skylark project. We've still got some final touch-ups to do. It's still just in the fabrication stage. We've still got to place our nice stainless cup holders. We did fabricate some engine turn stainless inserts for the top of the console as well as on the armrest for the door panel. We're using some Watson's billet window switches, and that's going to look really nice in this integrated armrest that we're fabricating. We're also making complete door panels from scratch that will have these over top of them, and then everything will be covered in leather. One of the cool modern conveniences that we added to Max's Buick here is the ability to flash the parking lights when you lock and unlock the car, just like a modern car does. It's one of the reasons that our tagline's always been where classic style meets modern technology. On Sam's 71 CUDA project here, we've got the engine bay fully painted to match the body. The engine and drivetrain are installed in the chassis for the last time, and the chassis is installed to the body the final time as well. We're moving forward with the final assembly. As I've said before, we are a Chevrolet Performance authorized reseller. We also do a lot of Mopar and Ford crate engines, Tremec transmissions, and other automatic transmission packages to go along with our chassis or to sell to other builders building their cars at home or other shops. What I've got here is a Coyote 5 liter. Now this is a 435 horse crate engine straight from Ford. Comes in the 15 to 17 Ford Mustang and some of the pickup trucks as well. This one's getting mated to a Tremec T56 6-speed. And all this is going to be getting put into one of our Ford F1 chassis for a customer in Texas. Here's an example of a complete package ready to ship. This one is a 68 Satellite chassis that we put together for a customer. It has a 707 horsepower Hellcat crate engine in it. We put a 4L80 GM transmission behind it. The Mopar transmissions are kind of hard to control. The GM is the easier way out, and they can be had for a lot less money and be built up to handle this kind of torque that the Hellcat motor puts out. So this one is completely ready to ship. It'll be going to a customer probably next week. We've developed a really cool product for the Hellcat engines that'll make your Hellcat swap much easier. On the back of the supercharger, there's this giant cast aluminum piece for the intercooler system. Now this limits you to running just regular hose only on the passenger side of the engine. The piece that we developed is universal, where you can run the hoses on either side. Additionally, there's a big boss that comes off of here, and the sensor comes off this way, and it really gets into the firewall quite a bit. With these billet ones, they're way lower profile, and you save over 1.5 inches of clearance, which is really helpful on the late model Hemi swaps on the Hellcat supercharger and the Demon supercharger. So these are available on our website. They're 520 as shown with the hoses and everything. And then again, you can run AN line on either side of the engine. Cleans up the engine bay quite a bit and saves a lot of firewall space. So I definitely recommend these for any Hellcat swap. We've got the transmission and drive shaft tunnel pretty much all fabricated on Willie and Kathy's 67 Barracuda project. We're in the middle of fabricating some floor panel patches that we made strictly for exhaust clearance for the mufflers. They wanted it fairly quiet, so we added a couple more mufflers in the system. So we had to cut the floor to make some room for them. The stainless steel exhaust is completely fabricated now, so we're just finalizing some of the interior sheet metal. We've got the Flaming River column mounted, some of the dash modified to accept that. And then we've got these scat seats mounted up with custom brackets that we made as well. We've got most of the plumbing completed on Henry's 74 Nova project here. We've got our Earl's heat exchanger mounted for the intercooler system of the LT4 that we installed on the LT1 engine. We've also got all the vintage air plumbed up from the compressor back to the vintage air unit under the dash. And next thing, we're focusing on mounting these C7 Corvette seats to the factory floor pan. We've got the chassis fabrication all done on Joe's 71 Monte Carlo. This is a new product for us, a 70 to 72 Monte Carlo full-size Chevy cars. This chassis is basically the same as our Chevelle chassis. It requires no floor pan cutting, a variety of engine and trans mount combinations that we can put in for you, and then all of the other benefits that we have for our G-Machine suspension front and back. This one is getting some additional work done to it. We're going to be mini tubbing the rear wheel wells to fit some wide 325 30-20 rear tires in it, and then we're also completing smoothing the firewall as well as some other things. So these chassis are ready to go. We've got them all jigged up and ready for ordering. They're not on our website yet, but they should be soon. And if you need any other pictures or information, feel free to contact us about that. The majority of the bodywork is now done on Stan's 67 Mustang project. We've got the chassis completely mounted with the drivetrain in it. We've got the fancy Forge Line wheels mounted on here. And we're just finalizing some of the front gaps with the hood and fenders and front end now that the chassis is mounted to the body. So this thing is going to be going to paint pretty soon. Well, that's all for this month, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. We always have constant updates going, so hope you keep in touch with us, and we'll see you next month.